We didn't get hands-on with any of the announced titles, but Bethesda's booth had plenty of cool props on show that Dishonored, Fallout, and Doom fans would absolutely adore. Fallout was many people's gamer show, so we had to grab an exclusive interview with the presenter of Bethesda's first ever showcase, Pete Hines. So for starters, congratulations for killing it at the press conference, and everyone's talking about you online and going kind of nuts. So we asked our community a bunch of questions that they wanted to ask you, and we've gotten a few. So we're going to talk about Doom, Dishonored 2, and Fallout today. Okay. Obviously, everyone's going crazy about Fallout, so I know you've probably been asked this a lot at this conference, but how was it keeping a secret that big from millions of people for so long?
It is not an easy thing to keep secret. Obviously, Bethesda Game Studios has a huge following. Skyrim was a big success. Everybody was really excited for what they were going to work on next. Lots of people wanted that to be Fallout 4. We also have a fair number of people who were like, well, you need to make Elder Scrolls 6. So it's not easy to sort of keep people waiting and guessing and hoping, but we knew once we got to the point where we were talking about it that it would be worthwhile, and that, you know, our idea was to wait and have the time between when you know it exists and when it's coming out be really short. So even if it felt like a really long wait to hear about it, it was a really short wait until you can play it. So you know, I'm glad we were able to do that. The time between, you know, this showcase and release is 5 months, so it's not too far away.
That's really exciting, and sometimes I find that a story is sacrificed to have a really big map or a big open world, but it seems like you guys are trying to nail the two of them, having an open world and a great storyline as well. So first of all, can you just let me know how big the map really is, and I guess how big the story is too?
We're not really talking about how it is relative to Skyrim or Fallout 3 or anything else. Todd said, you know, it is definitely the biggest, most ambitious game world that we've ever done. It's got a super dense area in and around downtown Boston, but it's pretty expansive out beyond Boston. And the important thing for us as it relates to story is, like, well, we want to have a really great, like, main quest, and we want to have lots of fun, cool side quests. But part of the fun of a Bethesda Game Studios game and a game like Fallout 4 is that the story that's most important is actually your story. Like, what do you want to spend your time doing? What are the things that you want to do? Who do you want to be? Because if you don't want to do anything with the main quest, like, you shouldn't have to. If you want to spend all your time, like, building your outpost and, like, building it up and attracting people to it and just playing the game like that, you totally can. If you want to ignore all of that and just stick to the main quest and kind of play it straight through start to finish, then you can. And it's the ability to make that experience your own and have it be different from everybody else's is part of what's really great about Fallout 4.
When Todd spoke about second screen experiences at the conference, he made it sound like he's not a fan of them personally, but what is going to be different about what you guys are doing that's going to make it successful?
It's true. I mean, he said point blank he's not a big fan of second screens. He finds them to be a gimmick. What's different about Fallout 4 is it's taking something that you use a lot in the game and making it available to you on a second screen all the time in a way that's super useful. So if you want to see sort of what your health is, or to take a stim pack, or to take a look at you and switch out your weapon or what you're wearing for armor, you can do all of that on your second screen. So you don't actually have to pause the game to pull up your in-game Pip-Boy to look at that stuff. You can just do it all on your phone or your iPad or your Android device. And, you know, even simple things like we have a very limited UI. We don't believe in putting like a little mini map down in the corner that kind of guides you where you're going. You have the little compass that folks are used to that sort of says, well, in this general direction is this thing or that thing. But you could pull up your in-game map on your Pip-Boy and use that as you're going along to have, you know, to have your second screen be the map that's streaming in real time, like where you're going, what you're doing. So it's more about giving you access to something that's already in the game in a way that makes it much easier and kind of keeps you playing and spending less time like pulling up your Pip-Boy, like where am I now? Where am I now? You could just have it up on your second screen and use it that way. I think folks are going to find it pretty handy.
Joel Pickett from our community knows there hasn't been anything said yet about companions, so I'm not sure what you can say today, but is there anything else you can tell us today?
Well, obviously Dogmeat is a companion. We showed him in the showcase. We did confirm that you can have Mr. Handy is another companion that you can have. aren't really talking about anything else, but you know, you can expect some variety in the ability to pick and choose. Dog meat is not a requirement. You do not have to play the game with a dog following you around if for some reason you don't love dogs. And you prefer robots for companions instead. So again, it's all about you getting to decide how you want to play the game, and we try not to force any of those decisions on you.
And what was the intention with giving the player a voice the first time?
Part of it was more of an emotional connection to the character. It also allows us to provide a lot more context without requiring you to have a non-player character say that to you, that you get to hear your own character commenting on what's going on and giving more context or more information without all the NPCs in the world having to be like these information kiosks that have to tell you 100% of the stuff because your character never comments on or tells you anything. And to again play up this idea of who do you want to be and the choices, and have those presented in ways that are more than just I picked this string of text on the screen and then somebody reacted to it. You get to see your character kind of delivering and sort of communicating the choice that you've made, whether you want to come back and be threatening or whether we want to be like conciliatory and nice or sneaky or whatever the dialogue choice is that you're making, so that, you know, if you decide you're going to lie to somebody, like you actually see your character like delivering the lie, and it helps bring the world to life a little bit more.
And obviously there's been a lot of chatter online about that decisions, and Josh Ackhurst from our page wanted to know if there's an option to switch off the actual...
We'll wait and see. Game's still in development, so what things or toggles or so forth, it remains to be seen.
And Tarek Kutuk asked, when will we see the full list of the names that Codsworth can say?
I don't know whether or not the team wants to release those or not. I know it's something that folks have asked. We'll see whether or not they feel like divulging the names, or if it's more fun to not tell folks. And you know, again, like, we don't want you picking names based on whether or not a robot once or twice is gonna mention it. You know, if you have it as a companion, he may reference you more often, but if not, then, you know, we want you to be who you want to be in the world and name yourself without choosing from some predetermined list of, well, these are the only ones that he'll say. So we'll see whether they feel like disclosing that.
And when fans get hands-on with Fallout 4 for the first time, what do you think is going to be their initial impression?
I mean, my hope is that they're gonna love it, and that they'll sort of appreciate all the little subtle things that have been added to the game to make it more fun, whether it's having iron sights now in combat, whether it's the way VATS now works and being able to determine when you want to execute a critical hit based on the way that you use VATS, just how fun the dialogue can be, what a massive difference it makes that all of the stuff you're used to finding in the world now all has meaning, that everything provides some kind of raw material that you can use or need for something. And more than anything, like, it's another Fallout game. Like, it's another chance to immerse yourself in that world and kind of explore all of the stories and content and things that exist that make Fallout.
It's obvious that the team puts a lot of love into the game and lots of personal little touches. What's your favorite one of those little additions?
You mean for Fallout 4?
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm a dog owner. I'm unabashedly a dog lover. They spent a ton of time with dog meat as a thing to make it more meaningful, to make his role with you be cool and fun, and somebody that, like, when you're playing the game and you have dog meat, again, it's not for everybody, and if you don't want a dog, don't have a dog, but when I'm playing and I'm exploring and I have dog meat with me, like, it's meaningful and it adds to my experience. And the team spent a lot of time, like, okay, you're doing this, what's the dog move doing? Like, okay, you get on a vertibird and you're manning a minigun, like, what's the dog doing? That's my favorite piece of concept art, I think, is the shot of the vault dweller manning a minigun on a vertibird, and you see all the shell casings falling, and dog meat is sitting next to him looking up at him, and his tongue is hanging out, and in the background there's just chaos and madness everywhere, but he's, you know, typical dog. He's got like this smile on his face and his tongue is hanging out. I just think it's like a brilliant sort of Fallout take on that kind of moment, and I really enjoy that. But I think the crafting stuff is what folks are really going to be the most impressed with and have a lot of fun with, and we can't wait to see. We have an amazingly creative fan community, and the stuff that they're going to be able to build and create in the world while they play the game is going to be pretty fun to watch.
And a bit of a weird personal question. So if you were at your house, you open the door and there's a death boar standing right in front of you, what would you do?
Close the door.
Close the door.
Doom is more intense and gory than ever before.
It seems like Doom is sort of going back to its roots. So what was the decision behind this? Because it has sort of moved off into different paths in the past.
Sure. I mean, I think, we talked about before, they had been working on a Doom game and just felt like it wasn't hitting the right notes and kind of scrapped that and started again. And the real desire there is exactly what you said, which is going back to what made Doom important for all of them. For a lot of folks on the team, it was a game that had a huge influence on them, made them want to get into making games, made playing games a love and a passion, and they wanted to go back to how those original games, specifically Doom 1 and 2, made them feel. And you heard Marty talk about, big guns and demons and being this sort of badass improvisational killing machine, never taking cover, never backing up, like always moving forward, finishing off your enemies, like that's who the Doom Marine is. And then building on that with sort of fast id style arena multiplayer and supporting the community of content again with what they're doing with SnapMap. Much like with Bethesda Game Studios titles, it is a studio that's had a ton of mod support over the years, and those folks have done and made amazing things. And so to give them something that is both very simple and super powerful, and allows folks to really quickly and easily create and play and share stuff is, I think, going to be awesome, because single player, co-op, multiplayer, like there's just so much stuff that you can make and do, and it takes no time to make. If you make something and want to play it, you press a button and you're instantly playing it. And if you want to play something, you press a button and you're instantly playing it that somebody else made. Like you don't have to wait to download a thing or load up this other program to do it and then wait for it to render out. Like it's using data that everybody already has. So there's really no like uploading, downloading. You're instantaneously sharing content across all platforms. I think that's going to be a pretty amazing thing to see and watch.
Dishonored 2 will introduce us to Corvo and Emily.
How different will Corvo and Emily's skills be?
Completely. Their skills and abilities are a completely different and unique set for each of them. So you start the game, you play as Emily, you're going to play her for the first half hour or so of the game, and then you're going to come to a point in the story where you have to pick which of these two characters you're going to play, and from that point on you play the entire game as one or the other. And if you play the game through as one, you're going to have access to completely different stuff than if you played it as the other. So, for example, Corvo has Blink. Everybody remembers that ability to kind of teleport to spaces. Emily doesn't have that, but she has a reach ability that allows her to not only traverse long distances, but also to grab enemies and bring them to her, which obviously Blink doesn't do. So it does change like how you play through and the way that you play through. But as either, you can still do whatever playthrough you want. So you want to be super violent, you can. If you want to ghost it and like nobody ever knew you were there, you can do that as well. But they do it and they go about it in very different ways.